Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today, myself and Steve R82 are going to review a short clip from an Aftersound video where Aftersound, Darkest Night, and Weirdbeard are going to discuss whether or not it would be good for Splinterlands to introduce a free-to-play element simply to attract a whole player base that aren't going to touch NFT or blockchain because they don't want to invest in something up front like that. They don't want to play a collectible card game, but maybe once they try it for free and have fun with perhaps ghost cards on a maybe once a week basis, it might grab them and it might get them hooked and then invite them into a deeper and deeper level of maybe card investment or cryptocurrency investment so that they can explore this space more deeply. I think I like this idea, but I also hear Steve has some, I guess, critical feedback. And so I hope you'll stick around for this one and discuss this with us. Leave comments below on what you think, whether this would be good or bad or where it would land. But thanks so much for your time. And Steve, thanks for coming out on this one. Check out his link in the description. And he also drops all of his social links at the end of the video. Bye, guys.
Just on time, did you want to get into Aftersound's little thing so we could talk about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. And guys, Steve's got to go like hard and fast at 11:15. And I also, Steve, I want to give you space if you feel you need to, if you want, if that's too long, that's fine. Just you tell me when you really have to go. But guys, we're going to watch it. I want to share a clip here that Aftersound covered recently with Darkest Night and with Weirdbeard, and they're talking about a topic that I want to discuss with you guys today, and I really want to hear Steve's thoughts on this. So we're going to watch a 1-minute clip from Aftersound's channel here, but I'm going to I want to introduce it. So Aftersound's talking, Weirdbeard's on the channel, and he's talking about how we can improve the game and how we can bring new players to the game, because that's so important. Obviously, we agree with that. One of the things he says is, look, if there was more opportunity for new players to step in, and from a free-to-play perspective, even if it was like on just Fridays and Saturdays, even if it was like once a week, even but it was a regular time where they could come in and they could maybe join tournaments or play some sort of component within the game and have access to ghost cards and have fun with the game. They might fall in love with the game and stay playing the game. And he made a joke right before the clip begins. He made a joke like, we complain that they would love it so much they'd never start paying money to play it. But that's a strange complaint. Like if they love the game, that's a great thing. And now Aftersound's going to comment here, and it's about a 1-minute clip. He's going to say, what would it mean for our game if we had 1 million players playing for free? And then I just want to hear your thoughts here, Steve. So I'm going to press play here, guys.
No, I'm all for, like, I can understand you don't want to devalue assets, but it's just like I would rather have 1 million people playing the free-to-play version, telling their friends about it because they're having so much fun, than that not being the case at all, right? Like, there's some people who are just not going to invest into Web3, into crypto games, like, for whatever reason. And it's like, well, you can still reach them on like the Web2 side by just having a fun game that can be the funnel, or like the we'll call it the gateway drug, right? For those who actually do want to come into the space. So,
yeah. And like, just thinking that through, just quickly, Steve, before I turn to you, if we created an element of this game that was exciting for people who are totally a 0% chance of investing in a Web3 game like Splinterlands, are we going to create opportunity for players to come and see how much they actually love a collectible card game on a blockchain that can reward them for their time and attention? Are we going to create new possible excitement in the hearts of people who we would otherwise never tap or touch or invite in? That seems to be an exciting option that I hear Weirdbeard advocating for and trying so hard to get the team behind. And then I hear excitement in Aftersound. And even Darkest Night has amazing comments here, but I don't want to clip too much of this. Guys, go check out the video in full. Go watch. Make sure you're subbed to Aftersound. And but Steve, what do you think about, like, what if we introduced more free-to-play elements and stop pulling and maybe pull away from this hard and fast? Splinterlands is, you need to invest money. That's been like the drum the team keeps beating. This is not a free to play. But what if it was partially free to play and then it was a gated experience where that might invite in new players? What are your thoughts on that, Steve?
I know he's being a little, overestimating when he says like 1 million people playing. But we've already heard the team say that just to support the 250,000-ish accounts we have play the game at times, playing numbers have been down, but that's been our peaks. It's pretty expensive. So I think he's completely discounting what it would take to put up a Mav server that could have hundreds of thousands to millions of people playing on it for free, and how much time and dev resources that would take away from us. So I'm not super I'll just, from being somebody who works in technology, my mind immediately goes to no, that's just a waste of money. You're gonna have to spend all this money to keep these servers up. Why can Blizzard do that? Because they're Blizzard. And they have money in the bank from all the games and the monthly subscriptions they have on all their other stuff. To sure, they can leave up a couple extra servers, but you would be talking about them spinning up a lot of capacity. Also, I think sometimes when I hear Weirdbeard speak and he goes on these things and what he says sounds great, but it's like he forgot what Splinterlands is and what it's modeled after. It's a TCG game. There is no TCG game in the history of TCG type games where it just doesn't cost like a continual sink of your money to be competitive and play. There was no Magic player who ever said, I'm going to be a competitive Magic player and I'm just not going to buy the new sets. I'm just not going to buy the new packs. There was no Pokemon player who was like, I'm not going to get the new cards and I'm not going to get the new packs. Whoever was going to be a competitive type player. The core demographic of our game as a TCG type collector's game where you play and earn and you play and own is meant to be a kind of pay to play to get in, an investment of your time. Now, I will give a caveat. I do think that the idea to turn the Mav server into anyone can access it to come and play the game with max level cards for one night a week or one night a month, that is a good idea. Because not enough people can come and play the game at max level and try it out and experiment and have fun. But the idea that we need to have an ongoing service where every time of the day you can log in and play this game with max level cards for free, just for the pure enjoyment of it, I don't think as a company Splinterlands is there yet to where that's something that they should focus on.
Interesting. I really probably wouldn't have gone to that side of it from the, the server cost perspective, but of course that is a reality. I wonder, and maybe you have a better idea about this, Steve, would that be a solution, or would a solution to that concern be, the operation of the nodes? And once the validators are operating, am I misunderstanding how that will work? Will that not then be a decentralization of how the game is run and how the game is provided and how the battles are matched? Will it not come on that decentralized network and then no longer, I think we're going to no longer require the Amazon kind of servers. Am I mistaken in that understanding?
Yeah, you're mistaken in that.
Okay.
So the tokenomics of the game will run on the validator nodes and like the blockchain and the data of our matches and stuff like that, the history. But the actual servers that stand up and replay the game and play the game to us so we can see it, those are still going to be servers ran by Splinterlands in the Amazon cloud that they're paying for.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, there are some blockchain answers of different places you can turn up servers that they can maybe use to save them money on that kind of stuff. And the amount of transactions they're doing and their hash might go away a little bit. But when you've heard Matt and Aggie talk about like what is a validator server going to be, one of the key things they're trying to do is make sure that they're extremely cheap to run, that these things are going to be literally like Java servers, like really tiny servers with very small processors that we can turn up on cloud services where you're going to be spending like $4 to $10 a month to run them. Because if not, who's going to turn them up? Because SPS is kind of down in the gutter right now. Your main incentive for running these is earning SPS. And if you're spending, like if I had to turn up a legit server that cost me hundreds of dollars to run a month in the cloud, I like Splinterlands, but am I going to waste $80 a month to run a validator node?
Yeah, I hear you.
No. So the validator nodes are meant to be very small, as cheap as they can be them, and it's just going to run transactions in the ground. So like the Mav server right now, me and you as Mavs, we could jump on there, we could have a ton of fun, we could battle all day. But if you invited 10 or 20,000 people to that server, I'm sure it would crash. They would need to increase it and get it ready. And I do like the idea of doing that, but I don't like the idea of offering like a completely free to play version of Splinterlands to get people to come in and play. And I feel like they're kind of doing this anyways, and they're doing it in a better way. And not enough people are paying attention to that. And that's the partnership with Nifty. Because Nifty Arcade is sitting there, and I was on their site the other day, and there was, I don't know, 200 bronze accounts, max level bronze, that you could press a button and get delegated to your account. Didn't matter when or where your account came from.
Cool.
So, like, the player progression that I see that we now have, like one of the best tools we have, is to bring people into the game, tell them to look at it, see if they would kind of like it, and then go ahead and take this Nifty max level bronze account and take it for 2 seasons, because you can get those Splinterlands ones for 2 seasons. And if you like the game after playing with max level cards in bronze for 2 seasons, and you've already got some soulbound reward cards on your deck, well, now you can make the investment of a couple $100s to own your own bronze deck, or you're going to have to go into the regular rental area of Nifty, because you can't rent again those Splinterlands decks, and try to get one from somebody that might not have as nice of terms, or might not have an exactly perfect deck, but that's a way for you to go. Or they're supposed to have the eventually have the one-click rental solutions. Because when you attract players who don't have in their mind at all that they're going to invest money into the game, and they're just going to invest time for fun, that's interesting. But I don't know if Splinterlands is a fun enough game for that, to not have the collector's aspect and to not have the earn aspect. It is for some people who like have a really analytical mind and really want to play like a slow-paced kind of mind game, almost like setting up a chessboard with your special cards and mastering all the abilities and knowing what cards to use and what rule set. I mean, there definitely are minds that like to go down that route, but I wouldn't say that it like, to me, Weirdbeard sometimes, and he does this when he talks a lot, he compares us to FPS shooters. And sometimes the things he say, I go, yeah, that kind of stuff, like, it appeals to FPS shooters, but we're not an FPS shooter. And so I feel he misses the boat sometimes a little bit on what Splinterlands currently is. And what game we are, and who we should really be targeting. Because bringing over like a regular Web 2 gamer who's playing Fortnite or even League of Legends and telling them to play Splinterlands, it's a wildly different thing.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think maybe the some of the analogies are probably not accurate or whatever, but I do think there's some merit or value in trying to appeal to an audience that would, on the surface, tell you there's no way I'm spending thousands of dollars on blockchain cards, NFTs. They might even think NFTs are a scam. There's like, I have friends, close friends, one whom actually you met, Mike, my good buddy Mike came to Splinterfest with me, and I'm pretty sure you met him, and he never played Splinterlands before in his life, and that weekend just started playing for free because the computers were on, and he played like all day long one day, and he's like, you know what, this is cool. And like, I told him for years about this thing and about my my price appreciation and the financial opportunity, but actually getting his hands on it sparked a certain joy that he didn't necessarily see when I showed him on my phone, like, check this out, dude. You know what I mean? You tell your buddy, it's like, it's one thing to see it, it's another thing to get your hands on it and play with it and actually, and so I do believe if we're able to do something like this, and maybe you're drawing great points about server costs, and we've just been through the whole layoff scene, and we've been talking consistently about how we want to reduce server expenses, not increase them. So that's we got to navigate that wisely. But as Eli said, and as Bobby was saying, and as you were even saying, Steve, like, if we could do an element where it's like, and I think to be fair, Weirdbeard's proposition, and we didn't show this part, but I think he said Saturdays only, or maybe he said Friday and Saturday, I forget now. But so the vision would be like this once in a while thing, and you'd have to be discerning about that, because you might get carried away and it might start pulling down servers, and it might affect the gaming experience for the people who have already been here. So there's a lot of question marks you'd want to navigate wisely. But if we could do it without it being too much of an additional expense, I do believe it would have positive benefits. Would those positive benefits of new players and new investors outweigh the cost, or let's say even the detriment to the existing player base? I actually don't know. And then one more thing that I want to say, such a great point about the Nifty Arcade, and Eli agrees. Nifty Arcade totally has the right idea, but how much access is there to higher tier decks? I don't know that there is a lot, to be honest, but to Steve's point, it's an option. And then to your further point, it's a collectible card game. It's a, trading card game. You have to, either you like a trading card game, which requires you to buy the new upcoming decks, or you don't. And you're right. We're not going to just appeal to every Fortnite player because, hey, we're another game. No, not all gamers like all games. So we have to know who we are and appeal to that audience. But man, if we could do this without too much extra cost, I want to know more about it. I want to better understand those financial costs, because I do think there's some opportunity here. And I know that I want to say, Steve, I know you got to go soon. If you want to comment on anything I just said, I'm willing to let you go there. Otherwise, if just anytime, man, if you got to get out of here, you let me know.
Yeah, well, just quickly, I'll state that I completely like the idea that Weirdbeard did kind of get to in Darkest Night, because I did watch that video, and they got to the idea of recreating kind of like what we used to have in the TCG world of Friday Night Magic, and the go to Saturday Night Splinterlands. And everybody comes to the Mav server, and it's meant for all of us to go. So maybe you can take some resources away from the regular server, given the bots aren't going to go anywhere. They're going to keep farming rewards. And we all play over there with max level cards. There's some kind of promotion. There's some kind of prize. You can bring anybody in. The thing is, and that sounds like a lot of fun, and that would be cool. I just don't know about the idea of turning up that server to be up all of the time.
Yeah.
If they thought they could do it and it wouldn't hurt the team, I think that would be fine. I think allowing creators and marketers to have more access to the Mav server, why couldn't they just give you the ability to put 10 people in, Dwayne?
Yeah.
And me, the ability to put 10 people in. So we could take people there and we could battle at max level, and we can try all kinds of things. Because one of the annoying things about the Mav server is the only way to create content with it is with two Mavs. So you got to get two Mavs together that have a lot of time and then play together. It's not impossible, but it's harder to do than just me grab one of my buddies and go, hey, come over here. You're going to help me test things.
Yeah.
So
that seems smart. Like you should have when you have an apartment building and you have X amount of parking spaces, you're given 2 parking passes and you can lend them out as you see fit. But something similar where with Mav access, you could have, at any given time, you could create a server within the Mav, which allows 10 people to play in maybe a tournament, but you can invite them in. They don't even have Mav access. That's an interesting idea. Maybe something like that would be viable.
Yeah, and Nifty's thing, Butters makes a point. They got to get a little better about it being a little more seamless to get into understanding it. It's not like a simple thing, because you have to give them some authorities on the Hive blockchain. It's a little more technical, but that's because you're going to be earning some money to get through, and so it is. But that's getting into any crypto game. There's some hand-holding that's needed for new people coming in, and it's something that a lot of us veterans forget about, because I've been in blockchain. I understand the Hive keychain. I understand Hive and MetaMask and bridges in and out and all of that kind of stuff. And all of these are issues, because even to get somebody to come play the free game, you're going to be like, well, you got to sign up for a Hive account. And they're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
And the Hive accounts take a little while to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a normal person, unless you want to create them a free token, which I found out used up a ton of my resource credits. It took me from 100% to like 30 to make
Yeah.
an account for someone the other day. So it's an interesting idea. I just don't know if it's the answer. Like I don't know if you had that server up doing that, we'd end up with like, I don't know, 50, 60,000 or a million people, like he says, over there playing the game for free. It could happen, but I don't see it. I just don't.
I mean, I'm hearing some skepticism, but I think it's like a healthy skepticism too. It's like, and it's a question of being discerning, like, because we could do a lot of different things, and the question is like, they all have cost and they have benefits, but what are the benefits and how big is the cost? And navigating that is something we really, especially Splinterlands currently in this bear market and the budget they have access to, we want to be really careful about starting some things that are perhaps bigger fish to fry than we think at first. Steve, can you tell the guys like about the channel? When do you go live on Splinterlands TV and let them know that kind of thing?
Yeah, I go live on Splinterland TV on Wednesday night. With the time changing this Sunday, it's going to be 8 p.m. Pacific to 10 p.m. And then Sunday mornings, I'm going to be going from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So I do one early morning and one kind of late night. And, during Monster March, we're giving away a lot of cards. And anybody who comes and watches Splinterlands TV, we're helping Splinterlands make a partner on Twitch, hopefully pretty soon. And I think that is a better outreach tool than some people think, is having Twitch, really recommending the channel and getting more people to come and watch and see what's going on there. And, we have a lot of different moments like the ones that Butters has had. I had a pretty funny moment last night when I realized I was giving away a golden legendary card, and like a lot of people never ever see that card who are casual players in the game, and they got one for free, and so that was pretty fun. I'm on Twitter and YouTube as Steve R82. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm trying to make content about the game. I am putting a video up a little bit about Nifty and some of their tools in the next couple days, so